Welcome to Channel Weird. It's Easter weekend. Feel a little weird? I do. In fact, we have such an amazing, weird person on the show. I don't know if this person's weird at all, because I kind of feel normal, more normal around my guest than I've ever felt with any guest I've had on the program. And you'll see why. Bobby Lugosi's with us today on Channel Weird. And I am proud to introduce you to Bobby Lugosi, because I'm sure that many people are unaware that Bobby exists, and that Bobby is definitely a contributor to all that is weird, and a personality that deserves to be seen, deserves to be talked. Bobby, gosh, thank you so much for being on the program today. How are you doing? The mic's not on. Can we turn the mic on, please? Are we there? Are you there, Bobby?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go,
Okay,
Bobby.
cool.
There you go. Cool. Gosh, it's nice to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We've had such a great talk even before the show.
Yeah, we have.
So we can just go home. We can just go home and say, okay, we had our talk. No, we've been like furiously talking. I don't think that we're going to run out of things to talk about, you and I, because I just feel like there's a connection here.
Oh, definitely.
Mainly because of our backgrounds in horror and interest in horror films, and I said, right when I met you, I said, you should be a horror host. Is that something that you want to be?
That's
Because
what I'm working on.
really, I mean, see, and that's the thing, is I'm getting the feeling that this whole idea of horror hosting is making a comeback. And I remember back when they first got rid of horror hosting because they wanted to put on like late night TV, and they said, well, there's no room for horror hosting. But I'm seeing Svengoolie everywhere. I'm seeing, I'm seeing Mr. Lobo everywhere. And Mr. Lobo is a good friend of mine. I don't know much about Svengoolie, but I do know that many horror hosts. I remember Dr. Paul Bearer, remember all these things. And then you come along, and I'm thinking, perfect. I mean, you could do a live theater show showing some B horror films, or even trauma films. What are your thoughts on that?
I actually did just show a trauma film at my last show, Monstro Menagerie, last month. We showed Vegas in Space. Trauma gave us permission to show it, and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Do you talk to Lloyd at all? Because I could probably get you in with Lloyd, because I'm the Toxic Avenger.
I actually haven't. I just emailed them on their website. And
well, maybe I need to introduce you to Lloyd Kaufman.
Please.
I will. Next time he's in town, I need to get a hold of you, because I think Lloyd needs to meet you. I think, because if you are interested about being a horror host, I'm just noticing the comeback. I'm noticing that, I mean, even Mystery Science Theater 3000 made a comeback. And I don't know, would you be the type to do these films and make fun of them, or would you give them a background and give them some credibility?
I think a little bit of both. I actually, just for fun, have been watching vampire movies on my Instagram and just live commenting on my stories, and it's been pretty hilarious.
I'm also and I commented about this earlier too, I'm also fascinated with your makeup and how original it is. I mean, you could have come off looking like a death metal person, but no, you definitely, I mean, where did this inspiration come from?
It definitely
excuse me.
It comes from drag. For sure.
Yeah.
I was a professional clown for 10 years. So some of it is, I learned how to paint my face from clowns.
Okay.
That's why it looks so even.
It's like, yeah, it is even. And it's, I mean, I always look at things, because I was like saying earlier, I says, at least Gene Simmons isn't going to sue you. But it's really great work. And you're back. You said you had clowns. You were a clown, a professional clown, and you worked for the circus.
I did.
How long were you in the circus?
I was in the circus for about 10 years. I recently kind of stopped over COVID and decided to focus all of my energy on drag. Drag and kind of trying to figure out how to become a horror host. And I will actually be hosting a couple events coming up soon. I'm the new drag booker at the Peculiarium. So hopefully we'll start to bring some drag shows there, and maybe I'll be able to better utilize my talent in the weird and obscure to really push some interesting performers to the forefront.
I've noticed that too. I mean, my wife watches Drag Race a lot, and I
Oh,
sometimes look
yeah.
at the queue, and I'm watching Drag Race, and I'm noticing that a lot of drag queens now are also dipping into maybe their makeup being more garish rather than looking female enhanced. And I'm beginning to notice that, thinking, is that a trend now to be garish
is.
instead of so
It
you can
is.
tell that it's drag rather than because I always look at drag queens as being like clowns. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh yeah. Well, some of them are. Some are more impersonators, and some are clowns. It just depends on the person.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that's how they are. It's just that they're a different type of clown.
Yeah.
Not in a funny way, but they are. It's the masquerade. It's the idea of
for
becoming
sure.
someone else. It's the idea of, fooling you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I think people lose that essence in clowns. Clowns can be terrifying, but they're also meant to fool you. That's why they're based on the trickster. That's why people are so fascinated with things, characters like the Joker for that reason.
Yeah.
And that's why it's no, I think, coincidence that two actors both played the Joker and both got Academy Awards, because for some reason I think we see a lot of ourselves in clowns.
Yeah.
And I've said before, it's kind of like we live in clown world now, where we find out that the circus is really a charnel house. It's really a slaughterhouse, where the clown's standing there saying, "Come to our circus," and the circus is basically lure you in to be eaten up. What are your thoughts on that? That's kind of creepy and morose, but still, think about it.
Just your money.
At least you're honest. At least you're very honest. So tell us about circus life, because I mean, everybody has their ideas. Like I was asking you before, I mean, Nightmare Alley is a movie that I really enjoyed. Of course, Kim Morgan and Guillermo del Toro. Kim Morgan, of course, from Portland, Oregon. She did the show Big Fat Radio at one time, and I got to see her every day. But now she's with the big people. And just curious about the circus life.
So when American Horror Story, the carnival episodes came out, I was actually watching that on the carnival lot from my bunk, going, "This is bullshit. That's not what it's like at all." Just like sweating in basically a shoebox, basically in like a medicine chest that's about the size of my bunk. We all lived in a semi-trailer that half of it was a bunkhouse, half of it housed the entire tent. And we had a museum that went along with the show that we had to load in and load out. People don't realize that it's the performers that have to set up and tear down the tents. And sometimes we do that after we've done a bunch of shows all night and we have a show the next day somewhere else. You got to load that out, load it, set it up, and you just feel like death, but you keep going because you're in the circus and you have to.
You had, you said you had a background being a clown, but did you do other things in the circus besides clowning?
Yeah. Actually, I walked on a ladder of swords. I sat on an electric chair and ran a bunch of electricity through my body, and I can light light bulbs with my hands or basically anywhere. I can light a torch out of my mouth.
Do any fire breathing?
I can do fire eating.
Oh, fire eating.
Yeah.
Not breathing.
Yeah.
I knew a guy that used to come in. We used to do we had a bar, a Klingon bar, and he'd show up and he'd breathe fire out in the parking lot. It was
awesome.
Really fun to watch. But were you ever in Jim Rose?
No, I wasn't. I actually know the Enigma who is in Jim Rose and love him a lot.
Right. So climbing a ladder of swords. Okay, so what does that entail?
So it's like a ladder, but all of the swords are the rungs, sharp side up, and it's just weight distribution so you don't cut your feet.
But have you cut your feet?
Yes, I have.
It's a bitch to heal feet when they're cut.
I actually cut the top of my foot. I rammed it into one of the swords. And all I heard, because I used to do this blindfolded and sometimes balancing a sword on my head as well. And all I heard from the stage was, at that time, my name was Miss Spooky. And I would hear, "Miss Spooky will now get off the stage. Miss Spooky will now get off the stage." And I'm just bleeding everywhere, but I'm blindfolded. So I don't know that I'm bleeding. And I get back to the backstage, start hyperventilating, and then one of the people who was helping in the ticket box ended up carrying me on his back across the carnival lot to a medical tent where they just couldn't help at all because it was a freaking carnival.
Right.
So they sent us to the hospital, and I got stitches, and the person that took me there, he actually was into body modification. He was so pissed. He was like, I could have done a better job.
Wow. Jeez. So, okay, so you do the sword climbing, the ladder. What else were you doing that was, dangerous to your health?
Let's see. Oh, the electric chair. At one point, I had a mishap on. So there's a piece that you hold with one of the electric chairs that we had that's like a metal rod. And we didn't know that the stage was wet. We thought it was just stained wood. And we also didn't know that the electrical plug wasn't grounded.
Mm.
And so we go to light a torch out of my mouth, and the metal rod touches my tongue. And the person who was holding the torch, he's about maybe 300 pounds. He's a strong man. He gets shot back about 6 feet, and a bolt of electricity shoots out of my face, and the crowd is like, yeah! And I'm just like, oh,
You didn't realize
no.
that this part of the act was horrible. That kind of reminds me of the time where, when I was a kid, there was a neon sign that was taken down from an old building. And a friend of mine and I were digging through the rubble to find these transformers. And the reason why is because we wanted to make Jacob's ladders.
Okay.
And so we do the coat hangers, and we tack them to wood. We dig because wood's a conductant, can be a conductive electricity, burnt wood anyway. And so we'd hook these transformers up to the Jacob's ladder. You see the arc going up the wiring. And so we thought we'd do it for a science fair project in high school.
Yeah.
And we were told we couldn't bring the transformers in because they were afraid that people would get electrocuted. But we finally got permission if we put a chain or some sort of a barrier around us. Well, what had happened, and I don't know how this happened, but a guy, I remember his name's Daryl. He had his fingers on the wires when we hooked up the transformers. And when the transformers kicked on, he flew across the room. And I swear, I saw the look on his face. It was a look of sheer terror. His eyes bulged out.
Yeah.
He turned pale and hit into the. And I thought to myself, I'm glad that wasn't me. But so what it's about amperages and volts, and you have to have a little bit of science behind this so you don't die. Correct?
Yeah, you're actually really close. I'm just not going to give it away.
Oh, you can't give it away. I'm close.
You're close.
But being able to light a light, though. I mean, were you lighting it with your hands with the electricity still in you?
I would put it in my mouth and
like
do an Uncle Fester. Yeah.
Yeah. Because we used to do a trick with a Tesla coil back in the day when we were doing spook alleys. See, I did spook alleys when I was in drama club. We made $500 up a spook alley that lasted about 3 minutes. Seriously, we charged $2. It was I can tell you this it was the greatest spook alley I've ever created because there were a lot of cool things we did. But we were able to get permission to have a Tesla coil in there.
Yeah.
And we had this guy that was this electronics kid. He was a nerd. And we put him in a lab coat and we gave him a big freaky hairdo. He looked like Rick from Rick and Morty. And so he had these fluorescent tubes and just holding them in the air actually made them light up.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize just how electricity and microwaves and all this stuff can really affect you.
Yeah.
And so was that you had so much electricity going on around you that you were able to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. My friend Jelly Boy actually swallows a light, one of the neon lights, and bends over, touches it to the Tesla coil, and lights up the light bulb inside of him.
Ooh.
Well,
how does it keep from breaking? I mean, wouldn't the esophageal...
That is a sideshow trick like that. It's a stunt that is done very, very carefully.
Because I had a friend named Naomi who's trans, by the way. Naomi was a sword swallower.
Yeah. Oh, I know Naomi.
Oh, you
I
do?
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. From what was it? Pandemonium Circus.
Yes.
Yeah. Naomi told me never to learn how to swallow swords.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yeah.
I met her accidentally. She was working at a convenience store downtown on New Year's Eve. I just got off work doing my late night show. Came downstairs. She was there at this, like, it was like a plaid pantry or a 7-Eleven type thing downtown. Went in there New Year's Eve. I heard the clock go off New Year's Eve. Some homeless guy passes out in the store. I give him mouth to mouth and resuscitate. The guy's dead.
Oh my
I
God.
bring him. I get his heart rate going again. We call the police and the fire, and they come and they take him away. And so Naomi takes me in the back. She says, "You deserve this." She uncorks a thing of brute champagne. We're both drinking champagne and eating bad sandwiches in the back.
Yeah.
And we become really good friends. And she performed at one of our gatherings, and she says, I don't think you knew this, but I know how to swallow swords. And I said, what? She says, yeah. And so she was swallowing swords.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it just makes me uncomfortable.
That's
to see that she was really good.
Huge swords.
Yes, I know.
Naomi swallows huge swords.
Yes.
And also Naomi's had several accidents.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Naomi in ages. I don't know where she is.
That's
these days.
why she told me don't ever swallow swords. Because she's been in the hospital a couple of times from it.
What about those who eat light bulbs? I've seen that.
Ooh,
Drinking Windex. I've seen that.
Very bad history with eating light bulbs.
Tell me about your bad history with eating light bulbs.
Well,
ladies and gentlemen, this is what you pay for. Let's talk about eating light bulbs, Bobby.
First of all, don't do it. 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 Don't do it ever. No one out there ever do this.
Right.
My teeth are absolutely fucked.
Not that you have fangs now. They're absolutely fucked.
I'm so bummed about it too. Like it ground down my back teeth.
Oh man.
And now they just kind of like sometimes they just shatter.
Oh man.
And like I've had to have so much dental work done from eating glass that it's just, if I could go back in time, you know what? I might do it again.
All this for the money.
Yeah, I needed the money.
You need the money. You were young. You needed the money.
I was young and I needed the money.
You know, and that's the thing is that it takes, I think, a lot of courage to say to yourself one day, yeah, I'm going to eat a light bulb for money. Or I'm going to put myself through some sort of, I mean, I've seen in my lifetime those people that like to put hooks in their bodies and hang. You've seen that too, right?
Suspension. Yeah.
What about that? Is it? Do they do that for the adrenaline rush, or do they do that for the? I mean, I hear that afterwards they feel really good when they do it.
Yeah, I think some people do it. They do it for all different reasons. Just like they're on some kind of trip about how they need to change their life, or like, well, you know what, the fuck ever. Well, they're the same reason people get on like weird diets and like experiment with religion. Like, I'm just gonna throw myself up on some hooks and like have a religious experience.
I've never heard it that way before.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's the reason that most of my friends have done this, is because they say it like really changes their life. It's an out of body experience.
Really?
And, yeah, and it's not something I want to do, but they can do it. I'll watch.
Okay, so we've talked about everything you've put yourself through. Swords, light bulbs. Let's see, what else? Oh, what am I missing here?
Electricity.
The electricity. Now what? What else?
Fire eating.
Fire eating. Tell me about that.
I'm not the best fire eater, but I can eat fire. I've got some friends. My friend Insectivora is an amazing fire eater out of Coney Island. Insectivora was pretty famous in the 90s. She's got her whole side of her face tattooed, and she was the face of Coney Island Brewery.
Oh, okay.
And she's just iconic. When I went out to the sideshow, she was my roommate, and I could not believe that this person that I looked up to so much suddenly was my roommate. And then for the next couple of years, we just sat in each other's farts in our bunk.
What a great lifestyle.
Yeah.
Really have.
You know, the prison you look up to the most.
Right. Well, today on Channel Weird, it's Bobby Lugosi with us, and it's a fascinating trip about the circus. And coming up, we're going to find out more about her personality, and we'll just a whole lot more to get to right here on Channel Weird. We'll be back. On the phone with me is Ronnie from getthetea.com. Hey, Ronnie, it is the tea that makes you go, I know this because I use it. My favorite is pomegranate. What kind of flavors are there to choose from with this wonderful tea?
You can do pomegranate. You can do just the straight, which is real good. And also we have a mint, a peppermint. People really love that one too. And we have a couple new flavors on the way, which I will not discuss yet, but they're coming.
You know, a lot of people don't know that peppermint is a very, very good supplement to keep the stomach happy. It relaxes the intestines, and once again, it makes you feel better because it allows them to move around and get that stuff out of you, that bad stuff out of you.
Absolutely. This is a digest mover. So people have a hard time digesting stuff, or you get something stuck, or maybe you're a real heavy meat eater. The tea is wonderful. That's why it's tagline, the tea that makes you go.
If I want my life to change and get the tea, where do I go to get it?
Getthetea.com. That's getthetea, TEA.com.
Fantastic.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
It's all over the news, food shortages and scarcity in the supply chain. And the reality is nobody truly knows what might happen in the near future. Hi, I'm Clyde Lewis, and I want to let you know that it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. They provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, their foods will be there when you need them most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of other survival products. If the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. After you order from My Patriot Supply, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep. Prepare today, because time is short. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com. Welcome back to Channel Weird with Bobby Lugosi. Today, I'm Clyde Lewis, talking about love, life, the circus, and all these other cool things. I mean, come on. This is awesome. I'm enjoying myself because Bobby's such a wonderful human being, such a interesting profile, and I'm always fascinated with people who, you know, are performers. And when it's like circus performers have it in their blood for some reason. It's like your soul is somehow chosen to be like that. Tell me, okay, now you say you went into clowning, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then let's talk about the evolution from your clowning to Bobby Lugosi. And there's more to the transition than just the face. So let's talk about that a little bit. So, okay, as a clown, what was your name as a clown?
Miss Spooky.
So you were Miss Spooky. What was the image there?
It looked almost exactly like this, but with eyelashes.
Okay. Okay. And so then were you like a magician clown, or were you
I'm what they would call a picture clown. I take pictures with kids.
okay.
Yeah.
And then you eventually evolved into this Bobby Lugosi character.
Yeah.
Tell us about how that all went about.
I guess at the beginning of when COVID first started happening, I did my last show before the lockdown as Bobby Lugosi. And I just bombed on stage. It was absolutely horrible. I chipped my tooth and just had a really fucking bad time. And I only had one backup dancer because my other backup dancer had diarrhea. And but during COVID, my car got broken into, and all of my suits, I had a baby blue rhinestone tuxedo got stolen. My red tuxedo got stolen. All of my beautiful suits. And then I started realizing, like, oh, if I'm this upset about these suits getting stolen, there's something else going on.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I need to reevaluate what's going on with my gender identity.
Mm.
And I realized that I am Bobby Lugosi and I don't want to perform as anything else because I just don't have it in me anymore. This is who I am now. We all evolve as people, and my gender expression just happened to evolve into a manpire.
I like that, manpire. I don't know if anybody else is going to get into that, but I like the idea that you went in transformed into a manpire. So, I mean, here's another thing that so you actually live this.
Yeah.
So is there any time where the manpire face comes off, or are you like living this when you wake up every day? And I mean, I know that sounds weird, but I mean, you look at other performers that have worn masks or what, like, I mean, I was a Kiss fan, you know, when I was a kid, and I still am today. And I remember it was, I think, Bill Aucoin or Sean Delaney who were the managers for Kiss, and they said, you're either going to live these parts and take it seriously, or you're just going to throw the makeup off altogether. And so whenever Kiss made appearances, they were always wearing their makeup. They never took it off. And so that was the biggest mystery of all, is what do these guys look like without their makeup? Are you that kind of a person?
You just wouldn't recognize me outside of this. My whole face is tattooed, and I look like somebody stranger danger.
Really? It's funny what makeup can hide.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show the creativity of it all, right? And that
yeah.
And then of course you said you made a transition to male.
Yeah.
And so how did this come about? Was it always in you to feel like there was something missing and that you wanted to just evolve like that?
I've always been sort of on in a spectrum rather than in a binary. I've always been like a they them, leaning more towards he him rather than she. I've never really been a she her, except for this one time when that's a long story. She, her, long story. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. This is just who I am now.
Oh, that's great. And you know, and that's another thing. I mean, it brings up a lot of interesting conversation with regard to understanding and understanding that, you know, here we are living in times that are just bizarre.
Yeah.
And I think people have a hard time dealing with bizarre. I think they have a hard time dealing with weird. But I mean, deep down, I think it takes a lot of courage in a lot of respects to say, this is who I am and this is how I'm going to live my life. I remember back, I was very depressed in my life, and I went to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist said to me, do you remember a time in your life when you were very happy? And I said, of course, it was back when I was a kid and I was really into old horror films and sci-fi and comic books and all this stuff. And the psychiatrist said to me, she said, why don't you go back to that? And I said, why? I mean, I'm grown up now. I don't play with toys anymore. And she said, what makes you think that, you know, you should deprive yourself of going back to those things that made you happy?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I guess you're right. And so I turned it into a career.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what you did. You
Yeah,
not only turned it into a
definitely.
career, but you turned it into your full life.
Yeah.
How does that? I'm just trying to. I mean, I don't know if you can describe it, but how does one make that decision? How does one wake up one day and say, "I'm going to be this for the rest of my life, or at least for the time that makes me feel good"?
First of all, you have to have severe mental illness. You just got to be totally insane, just balls to the wall, just insane.
Mhm.
And I am, so it works out. Not for everybody, but for me, that's where I was a clown.
So you embrace your quirkiness,
You don't just go into clowning.
right?
You have to have you gotta be something going on.
Do you think a lot of the tension and a lot of the misunderstanding is that people just don't understand that people want to basically express themselves by embracing their quirkiness?
Yes.
I mean, why
Yeah.
can't we accept that?
That's a whole world.
I think people are secretly quirky, and I think that a lot of them are afraid to express their quirkiness. I mean, I'm not saying, go do something that's going to hurt people or hurt other, but I'm saying that and I wasn't happy until I started, exploring the things that made me who I was. And a lot of it was the interest in things that were just strange.
A lot of people don't want to stand out because that's scary.
It was working for you, right?
It's working for me. I mean, when I don't look like this, I actually get less respect. I will get followed in a grocery store because my whole face is tattooed. If I don't dress up, actually the Enigma from Jim Rose told me, because I'm so heavily tattooed, to always present nicely because you never know who's going to be around, but also that's how you're going to get treated the way that like a human.
Do you feel more comfortable in your Bobby Lugosi skin than you do in your other?
Yeah, I do. I know that people see this and they say, "Oh, it's a character. Oh, that's funny or whatever." But then they see me outside of this and they're like, "Oh, that is a scary person that I need to grab my kid and take them away from them." And I don't know.
It always goes back to the Joker too, because I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch the Batman serials, and I said to my mom one day, I said, when the Joker shows up to the bank, why don't they just call the cops? They know that the Joker's there, And my mom said, because in the future, people are going to be living their lives, and it may even mean painting their faces.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, seriously? And now I'm older, and I'm seeing that now. I'm seeing that, the idea of masquerade, or the idea of we all hide in some ways behind our masks, behind our darker senses. People do it people do it in the dark, or they do it when they're not looking. But there are others that have the courage to put on that persona and have that persona and not worry about what other people think. I mean, there's got to be that moment, and I can only express it as what Robert Anton Wilson called Chapel Perilous, where there's got to be that moment where you say, fuck it. I'm going to do what I want to do, and if it makes me happy, who cares what other people think? Is that your attitude?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and it's gotten me in some trouble, but it's pretty much worked out.
Really?
I'm a vampire now.
Well,
so
but trouble in what? The idea that people don't understand it, so they criticize it? I mean,
yeah,
it's enough to be trans, but being a vampire, a manpire?
It can be dangerous. I don't necessarily want to get confronted on the street by strangers, but it happens, especially because I actually probably need to take this off of my jacket, but my jacket says Bobby on the back.
Yeah.
So a lot of strangers just start yelling my name, and it isn't necessarily safe for me to be a trans person walking around with people that just screaming my name and me not knowing if I know them or not. But
that's the part of celebrity. You're calling attention to yourself.
Yeah.
Now you need to understand that. And you're more flamboyant. And so you're going to have to probably eventually swallow the medicine that people are going to yell your name. People are going to recognize you. And for good or bad, they're going to find you to be either entertaining or, turn them off.
Hopefully it's entertaining.
Well, agreed. Agreed it's entertaining. And like I say, I mean, when I first met you, I'm thinking immediately, you need to be on TV more. You need to be seen by people. You need to express yourself. This is stuff that I think people like to see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crowd pleasing, and we don't have enough of this. I was telling someone the other day. I said, I'm in this part of my life where COVID-19 has literally leveled me. Because I'm the type of guy. I mean, like I said, I was, involved with this bar here in Oregon where we had a Klingon that sang rock and roll songs in Klingon. We had another Klingon that sang. We had a stormtrooper from Star Wars that sang, and we did Klingon karaoke, and then we had people dressing up in Matrix costumes or dressing up in slave Princess Leia outfits and showing up to a bar. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was something to deter us from all of the crap that was going on in the world. We need something like that now.
Oh yeah.
To shake things up.
Definitely we do. We do. And that's something that I think about a lot. When you said crowd pleasing, that's what I'm trying to do. Like I want to do the hits. Like Vampire, I'm coming out here with classical vampire realness.
Right.
Like, I'm not trying to challenge you. I mean, I am a manpire, but I'm not trying to like throw my queerness in your face.
Right.
I want to have a good time. I want to give a good show.
Right.
I want to give you what you want to see from a vampire.
Okay, so let's talk about queerness in the face. The militant queerness in the face right now, do you think is a detriment? There's a lot of militant queerness in the face. You have to admit that, right? Or
yeah, especially in Portland.
yeah, I mean, it's like I've got plenty of friends who are trans, plenty of friends who are gay, plenty of friends who are, and I understand everything about it, and I appreciate people for who they are. I don't care what their sexuality is or what they do with themselves. It doesn't, as long as it doesn't hurt me or hurt them, right? And what bothers me, though, is the controversy now that never was a controversy before. I remember my father, who was a strict Mormon guy, came to Portland, right? And he asked me, he says, what's there to do in Portland? It just happened to be the day that we had gay pride. So I took him to a gay pride parade, right?
Yeah.
My father, who is this strict Mormon, very conservative, standing on the corner watching the drag queens go down the street. This guy who's this preacher dude with the Bible screaming and yelling, and everyone's going to go to hell. My father tells a police officer, and this is what he actually said. He said, this man here is ruining my gay experience. And I looked at him, I go, what are you talking about, your gay experience? He says, I've never seen a gay pride parade before. And he said, I'm having a good time. This guy needs to shut his goddamn mouth. And I just thought, Dad, it just shocked the hell. It's like when you go to a Rocky Horror Picture Show and everybody's like, oh, let's just jump in the pool with Frankie Frankenfurter. And I was just completely blown away by it. And it's true. If people were to understand that it doesn't matter, that people are people, even if they are outrageous, flamboyant, or crazy, and they're not harming anybody, by damn, that's the spice that we need in the world. Everything is so damn mundane. Everybody's so damn caught up in their own feelings. They don't take the time to realize that maybe if we were to ask questions and embrace the weirdness, maybe we'd feel a lot better about ourselves.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I do.
Is that why you do it? Is that why you do what you do?
I mean, I do what I do because I can't do anything else.
So it's back to the idea that you like getting paid to be you.
Yeah, totally.
See, and that's the thing is I was told once that if you love your job, you won't work for the rest of your life. And when people ask me what I do, I say I get paid to be me. I said, you can't complain about that. I get paid to wake up every day, go on the radio, and be me. No one can have that. And that's the lure of it, I think. And when I look at you and and your personality and how in the short time that I've talked to you, I'm realizing that you love being you. And I think that's important. Seriously. You really love what you're doing.
I do. I love what I'm doing. I love vampires. I love history. I love researching. Like, I've researched everything that I'm doing, like, so specifically. I've got a bunch of vampire brides that are beautiful, and I love you all. But they have their places in history that we have significantly done so much research on and mapped out.
Right.
Like, we know what we're doing, and I love doing this. This is the funnest thing for me. It's just mapping out vampire lore and making costumes.
Yeah, and the good thing is you're not a fashion victim. I see a lot of goth kids that are fashion victims, and I wonder, someone needs to dress you better.
The suit isn't like, I have a nice suit.
I think you do. We're going to talk about that suit coming up. Bobby Lugosi with us, and so glad to have him on the program. We'll be back with more. Don't go away. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. You know, with the rise of the cancel culture and an increase in social media censorship, we need to make a big change. So we decided to create a very unique digital platform. It's called Aftermath.media. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring an interactive social media section with a chat room, videos, audio clips, archived Ground Zero podcasts, documents, books, and magazines. Our news aggregator provides current news relating to many of the topics we cover. We're expanding our research and study groups as well, which presently includes Tracy Twyman, William Cooper, Mae Brussel, and Jim Keith. Also, check out popular podcast Conspirafact with Wes and Bill. Updated apps will be available soon. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month, and if you sign up now for the yearly subscription, it's only $79. If you want to hear the shows you love and support Great Talk Radio, go to Aftermath.media. Again, that's Aftermath.media. Right now, the world couldn't be more chaotic. History shows us what gold does when the world goes crazy. It goes up in value. Right now, we're in unprecedented times. The pandemic, the war in Ukraine, the devaluation of the U.S. dollar. Gold and other precious metals are a defense measure against the hyperinflation that's happening right now. So, what can you do to protect yourself? This is what you do. Call my friend Alan Johnson at United Gold Group. He's dedicated to helping people secure their retirement income. He'll help you with gold, silver, and other precious metals and show you how to set up your own self-directed IRA. Safe and secure, United Gold Group makes gold ownership easy and affordable. There couldn't be a better time. Call now and get a Silver American Eagle Proof Set with a qualified IRA. Call 800-753-8534. Again, that's 800-753-8534 or visit UnitedGoldGroup.com. It's all over the news, food shortages and scarcity in the supply chain. And the reality is nobody truly knows what might happen in the near future. Hi, I'm Clyde Lewis, and I want to let you know that it's a good idea to plan ahead so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We highly recommend My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. They provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, their foods will be there when you need them most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. They have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from, along with a variety of other survival products. If the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. After you order from My Patriot Supply, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep. Prepare today because time is short. Go to preparewithgroundzero.com. That's preparewithgroundzero.com. It's Bobby Lugosi with us on Channel Weird. I'm Clyde Lewis. And so you perform.
Mm-hmm.
You perform here in Portland.
I do.
I know you've been at Dante's.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you do in your performance.
Let's see. I built an Iron Maiden, and we've been doing an Iron Maiden demonstration on stage with my cast of beautiful vampire brides, the ladies of Hell House. Yeah, we've been demonstrating a stacked Iron Maiden, which is absolutely insane. You're just gonna have to come see it.
Are you gonna do the sword climbing again, or is that like old hat for you now?
It's kind of old hat for me now at this point. I might,
but you'll do Iron Maidens. You just don't do swords.
I mean, maybe I'll figure out another way.
Such a glutton for punishment you are. Yeah, anything else you want to add to it? Like, I mean, okay, Iron Maiden's huge. What else do you do?
I was thinking about making a ladder of saws instead of swords.
Saws.
Yeah. Just taking it up a notch.
Why not chainsaws? Oh, stop it! I'm not giving you an idea. I'm not giving you any more ideas. You're gonna have to start. I'll start charging royalties. So, okay, we want to talk about your fashion sense.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about fashion victims that are goth kids. I mean, I used to be one of those in high school. Somebody asked me the other day, was mascara in the studio? I haven't worn mascara since high school. So, I mean, and then people would find that very interesting that I used to be like this dark, foreboding vampire-looking type kid when I was growing up because, I had a lot of issues that I wanted to deal with, and I did so by being a vampire. Like I say, I mean, I was a big fan of horror films. And so, I mean, you have, though, the outfit that comes off as being like a trickster vampire. Is that what you are? I mean, it's kind of like the cross between, the Joker and a wizard or but definitely something that is fascinating. So tell me about the persona, the outfit, the clothing.
I love wizards, but I am the sleaziest vampire in town. I try to gather my influences from used car salesmen.
Ah, that works.
Yeah, just getting any kind of tuxedo or suit clothes that I can find from Goodwill, and then just
you found that at Goodwill,
dazzling them.
Oh,
yeah.
you'd be dazzled.
I hand fucking rhinestoned all of this.
And I don't know if it can be picked up on the camera, but here's something else that's interesting. I'm noticing since I'm just staring at you. You've got glitter in your makeup.
Yeah.
That must take a while. I mean, how do you get glitter in makeup like that?
I actually use Neosporin in a brush, and then I paint it on, and then I powder on the glitter over it because it makes a good kind of adhesive for glitter.
You're a sparkling vampire, right?
Yeah, I am.
Did we say to sparkle or not to sparkle? Is that? I mean, we talk about that all the time, ever since that movie came out.
Yeah.
They would say, do vampires really sparkle? Apparently you do. No, I just think that once again, I mean, I don't think the camera can pick up the fine tuning that you have in your makeup, which I just, when I first saw you come in, I was thinking, look at the detail here. I mean, this is Cirque du Soleil stuff is what it is. And that's how I know that you had a background in the circus, because you just got that circus, I don't call it alchemical type of feeling to it. It's the idea, and it's not just that, but the illusion of makeup skills are something that I really do like about this whole thing.
Yeah,
the makeup skills. I sound really weird, don't I? I'm just describing how much I enjoy your makeup. What about the teeth? Are they permanent or not?
No, they're scarecrow. I really like scarecrow fangs a lot, actually, and they last me a fairly long time.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I was in the movie Nightfall. I wore the same type of fangs, and I was known as the stupidest vampire ever because what happened is I got bit by a vampire at an airport. I was in an airport. We carried a coffin into the airport shipping, and this vampire comes out, bites me, rips my eye out in this movie. So what happens? They put me in a crematorium. And I'm laying there, and all of a sudden, I rise from the dead. I attack the crematorium guy, throw him into in the crematory, burn him. Then I walk outside into the sunlight, and I just melt, and my head explodes. It was about a $5,000 effect. My eye shoots out.
Wow!
But everybody say I was like at the premiere of this movie in a hotel, and this Latina, kind of like a Consuela from Family Guy, comes up to me and she goes, "Mr. Lewis, you're the stupidest vampire I've ever seen," because I walked out of the sunlight and died. So, I mean, I wore those fangs too. But they gave me that, what is that stuff, that denture grip or whatever to put on it. And it was so goopy. I mean, it was bad enough I had the denture grip on my mouth. I couldn't even, it was horrible.
Yeah. The stuff that they give you in the scarecrow fangs to mix up, just put more of it than you should on there. Mm-hmm. So it kind of overlaps onto your other teeth,
right? So
it locks into more than just one tooth. Don't clean it up,
right?
And you can't tell from far away.
See, that's another thing. You've got another career in vampire etiquette,
dentistry.
Vampire dentistry and etiquette. Don't put the tooth on like this. Put it like this, and have it nice and tidy. So your performance, you have the Iron Maiden. What else? You tell jokes.
I've been hosting. Let's see, what else have we been doing? We've got a really great dance number to riboflavin flavored non-carbonated polyunsaturated blood. Let's see. Yeah, I just have a whole chorus line of dancing vampire brides as well
Wow.
as doing some sort of circus sideshow stunts.
That's amazing. Are there any other oh, you got your vampire brides, but are there any other I guess you could say horror personalities in Oregon that we need to know more about?
Actually, part of our house, we live in a haunted house, and one of the creatures that lives in our house is a ghost named Sex Ghost. They're a very sexy ghost.
Sex Ghost from coast to coast.
Yep.
So you have Sex Ghost. Do you have any werewolves? Because I'm a big werewolf
I've been
person.
looking for a werewolf. I have been actively looking for a werewolf.
If I wasn't so damn busy, I'd be your werewolf. Seriously. Because I
Anybody
love
that's a
being a werewolf.
werewolf,
I'm
call me.
yeah, if you're a werewolf, please call Bobby Lugosi. Yeah. Or we've got Bobby Lugosi's website. I'm sure that we could put up there.
Yeah.
People who are werewolves can call
Yeah,
you.
please. I'm looking for werewolves.
So it's like, the Monster Squad is you're trying to develop a Monster Squad, and it would be, once again, thank you so much for what you do. I'm so happy there's someone like you out there, because I've gotten this feeling ever since I was talking with Mr. Lobo and others that horror hosts are making a comeback, or the idea of the horror floor show, or the idea of a circus horror sideshow is actually making the comeback. And I like that, because I think that we need this. The idea that we are in this mundane type of existence because of COVID-19, and just the idea that this can make a comeback, that something that this floor show, or whatever you want to call it, is going to make a comeback, and people enjoy the masquerade, the circus feeling. I mean, because they've eliminated the circus. I don't know if you noticed that. I mean, Ringling Brothers doesn't do it anymore.
Yep.
Are there any circuses anymore?
Cirque du Soleil has a couple of traveling units. There's the Culpeper and Merriweather Circus that's still out. There's a couple, but only a couple. And most are just doing, like, I don't know. We worked with Circus Vargas, or we were on the same spot with them.
I used to see Circus Vargas in Argentina.
Yeah.
They go to Argentina a lot.
Awesome.
But is it because of the animals? I think that's why they're shutting down circuses.
A lot of it's because of the animals. I would say that that's probably the primary.
But why don't they then say, okay, well, we're going to eliminate the animal thing. Let's go back to the magic. Let's go back to the carnival-esque, mind reading, the carnival-esque, the circus sideshow stuff, the bearded ladies and all that stuff. That'd be kind of fun.
Every couple of years it pops up again and has kind of a resurgence, but it just hasn't seemed to maintain. I mean, I guess it has maintained throughout history, but it hasn't just stuck as something that it used to be.
It's because of the internet?
Probably internet and TV.
Yeah, because I mean, what you can't do under the big top, you can do on TikTok, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you do stuff on TikTok and on the internet?
I don't. Everybody makes a lot of fun of me for not being on TikTok, and they all say that I look like I should be on TikTok.
You should be everywhere. You should be everywhere. I should.
Yeah, I should.
I mean, this is going to be, I hope, your first exposure.
Yeah.
To a lot of people. I know a lot of people are going to go, "What's that?" They're always like, I always pretend like they're above it all. But in reality, if they see how wonderful this can be, how the potential there to entertain and to enlighten and to bring back that childhood type of fascination, I think is what people are craving. They want to be entertained. They want to have that kind of entertainment in their lives. And I know I do, because I mean, I'm searching high and low for something interesting on TV, and I'm not finding it anymore. I'm not finding it, even in social media, even on YouTube. I mean, there's occasional stuff that comes out every once in a while, and I'm going, that's interesting. Maybe I'm not exploring enough, but I'm beginning to realize, since I've been doing Channel Weird, that a lot of the coolest stuff is in my own backyard. And sometimes I have to search outside of Oregon.
Yeah.
But I mean, we are supposed to be the weird capital next to Austin, Texas, the weird capital of the world. I mean, you must tour. Do you go everywhere?
I toured for years. I toured all over the United States for years, and I made it to Canada and Mexico, but that's about it.
And that's doing your show.
Well, I was with somebody else's show.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're doing your own. You're going to be doing your own. Are you going to tour with your own show?
I hope to. I hope to be doing a tour in October with Jarvis Hammer, who is another fantastic ghost personality, drag persona. Yeah, they're another drag king.
A drag ghost?
Yeah, they're a drag ghost.
How do you become a drag ghost? Is it in the sheet you wear?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, drag king. So drag king.
Drag king.
And
yeah.
you're a drag king.
I'm a drag king.
I mean, and okay, so how do you get recognized as a drag king? Because I know the drag queens are like the in thing now. I mean, do you get up? Are you getting up on Drag Race maybe and say I'm a drag king?
They're not letting drag kings on Drag Race.
Why?
Because RuPaul is RuPaul.
Okay.
I know that I think that they've let some drag kings on other incarnations of that show, like maybe in Europe, but not in America.
Huh? Because like I was saying, one of my favorite, because he was so interchangeable and so interesting, was Divine.
Yeah.
You know, both man, woman. I mean, I remember him playing a gangster once.
Yeah.
And then when he was Divine, it was like amazing. I mean, when did you see Pink Flamingos? You were telling me.
Oh, I saw Pink Flamingos when I was like 11 or 12.
I hear John Waters was coming to town.
Yeah, I saw that.
You gonna go see him?
Probably yes.
Yeah, I'd love to find a way to see him, because I mean I've always been like a fan of his for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Because like, you know, we all have our experiences where, you know, it's like when you're younger, you like go see a John Waters movie, you know, you're kind of breaking a taboo. You're ending up in the Rocky Horror Picture Show and you're breaking a taboo. And were you ever a Rocky Horror person?
I did like Rocky Horror when I was a lot younger. It really influenced who I am now. Now I'm a little bit on the fence about it just because of what Richard O'Brien has said about gender.
What did O'Brien say?
Just that trans women aren't real women.
Oh.
And so that's wrong. And fuck.
You mean pre-op? You mean pre-op or post-op?
You know what? If you're a woman,
you're a woman. It's not what's between your legs, between your ears. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, see, that's the thing, is that there's so much I don't know, so much mixed opinion now.
Yeah, I just believe if you're a woman, you're a woman. If you're a man, you're a man. You're they, them, non-binary, you're non-binary.
Right.
But Richard O'Brien said some like weird stuff about like trans women, and also even though he identifies as, I believe, 30% female and 70% male, he still has like dated opinions on gender, and that really sucks. But he's old.
But yeah, okay. I'm old too. I mean, I don't know. I don't consider myself old. I mean, I'm 17 until I stand up, and then I know I'm not. But you know, and that's the thing. But okay, now I have to admit something to you. You know, while I embrace all of it, I am having problems though with a lot of the conversion here. You know what I'm saying? In other words, I have to get in the habit of saying they, them. You heard me screw up in the beginning, right? I have a problem with they, them. I'm having a problem. Well, I have no problem calling someone who's trans a him or a her. I don't, and I don't want to dwell on their pre-existing existence. And so in the process, the learning curve for us older people can be a little hard.
Yeah.
We like to think of ourselves as sophisticated and hip. And because, you know, listen, I mean, this is something that's been around for a long time, but I think that the independence now is somewhat happening so quickly that people my age are saying, well, okay, so how do we do this? Because we want to respect.
Oh, totally. And yeah, that's something that I've been running into with my parents as well.
How old are your parents?
My parents are like 73.
Oh, so you're probably older than I thought you were, right?
How old do you think?
How old do I think you are?
Yeah.
Probably 22.
Oh, no.
No. Seriously?
Yeah.
30.
Yeah.
40?
No.
35.
I'm 33.
You're as old as my son. You could be my son.
I could be your son.
I'd adopt you as my son. I don't care. I would.
Now I'm your sunpire.
My sunpire, Bobby Lugosi, is on today. I love that. You gonna get the papers so we can make it official? How about a little bit of a blood here? Let's cut our wrists and do something like that. Yeah, okay. But see, that's the thing, is that you know, being your age and my age and the age difference, I think it comes time for the comeuppance and the understanding.
Yeah.
That's what needs to be done here. Throw out all the militant bullshit. Let's talk turkey and understand that there are people who have these opinions, but let's not disparage people that are having a hard time figuring it out.
Right. Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think like that. I mean, they say, no, we're not going to disparage you for trying to understand because, like you said, we have to admit that we're all weird in some way.
Yeah.
And in fact, I had a lesbian friend of mine once that told me, she says, Clyde, I have to admit to you, I am weird. And I'm not ashamed to say that. But that doesn't mean I don't need love. It doesn't mean I don't deserve love. And I agree with you. I mean, just because it's something that it's not your cup of tea.
Yeah.
Don't act like you can't love somebody for who they are. I've loved my time with you today. And I want to tell you that. And I thank you for being on the program, Bobby.
Oh, thanks for having me.
You're amazing. And I hope we see more of you. Seriously, I want to see more of
you.
Let's
do it. Let's do it again.
We will. We certainly will.
Awesome.
Bobby Lugosi with us on Channel Weird. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. The conversation was fun and amazing. Be looking for more from Bobby right here and everywhere else. Thank you. Take care.